Hi, this is the Promasys webinar series. Today we are going to talk about data quality and data integrity. My name is Wolf Ondracek. I'm Senior Vice President Academic and Asian Markets at Omnicom Systems Incorporated and Managing Director of Omnicom subsidiary in Leiden, the Netherlands. Let me start with a rhetoric question. Is the quality and integrity of your clinical trial data important to you? The answer, of course, should be yes, very important. Collecting data is the very reason why you run your clinical trials. The data is all you have to confirm your scientific hypothesis. It is gold in your hands. So, naturally, the quality of the data should be your top priority. And there's no data quality without demonstrated data integrity, because if your data are not protected against uncontrolled manipulation, they basically lose their value. That is the very reason why sponsors and regulators are so keen on checking what you've done to guarantee that your data is reliable, accurate, and valid. It is also the reason why, and this is very important for academic researchers, the international scientific journals, when reviewing articles that have been submitted for publication, increasingly require that authors can demonstrate that the data on which their article is based come from clinical trials that have been conducted in compliance not only with international data standards, but also with clinical trial rules and regulations. So, it is not an option that you store your data in Excel or Access, or any data management system that does not provide a high level of access control and support to ensure the quality of your data. The gold in your hands would quickly lose its luster and its value. Here at Omnicom, we have developed an affordable clinical data management and EDC solution that gives you all the tools you need to make sure that your data is of the highest possible quality right from the start, and that also helps you to protect your data. This system is called Promasys, and it was developed over more than 25 years in close interaction with researchers and clinical trial professionals. Today, we will take a closer look at the various components and tools that support your data quality and integrity. We will look at functionality that works on the data capture or data entry side, edit checks, limits, data formats. We will look at data cleaning through the query management system, and we will look at data protection, the access control system, the audit trail, and electronic signatures. First, data types and formats. Promasys supports all common data types, and the data entry fields only accept values that match the data type. Date and time related values, numeric values, code lists, free text, etc. When defining the data items during your study build, you specify not only the data type, but also the format, like how many characters or digits, and, if applicable, the units. Here you see a number of different data types in the data entry screen of our EDC module, the WebCRF. A yes-no field, a date field, an integer that allows only 2 digits, a code list with predefined answers to the question, what is the gender of the patient, another integer with 3 digits, and a numeric field with 2 digits and 1 decimal. The data types, of course, also do their work in the data capture screens of our mobile EDC module, the Promasys iPad app. When you tap on a field, a data entry keypad opens that matches the underlying data type. Here you see a yes-no field. Here a date-time field with a handy button to quickly enter the present date and time. An integer field with 3 digits, and what we call a decimal data type with 2 digits and 2 decimal positions. These specialized data entry keypads help the user to enter data very fast and always data that is consistent with what is expected. So we have made sure that the data is of the correct type and also of the correct format. But in Promasys you can also define for your data items that they have to be in a certain range. This functionality comes in two flavors: ranges and limits. Promasys allows you to set normal ranges for all non-text parameters, as well as detection limits for numeric parameters only. This is typically used for lab data. You can make these ranges conditional on the value of any other variable, so you can set up for a certain lab test, for instance, a normal range for males and a different range for females, or make different ranges based on age groups. This allows you to build very powerful range checks. A code list is a set of predefined answers to a question, and therefore by nature the data that can be entered in the field are limited or restricted. For date and time related fields you can define the required accuracy. For example, for the start date of an adverse event, the patient may not be able to provide the exact date. If you set the accuracy level to month, then you have to provide a year and a month, but not the day. If you do know the day, however, you can capture it. This is called partial dates and times. And finally, for numeric fields, you can define confirmation limits and refusal limits. If a value is outside the range of a confirmation limit, the user gets a warning, but will be able to enter the value. If a value is outside the range of a refusal limit, the user will not be able to enter the value, so this functionality must be used with care, only for values that you are certain to be a mistake. Another important way of ensuring or improving data quality is the use of edit checks. We have developed an edit check builder that doesn't require the user to do any programming. From simple single item edit checks to complex edit checks in which multiple items are involved, these can all be built with the point-and-click edit check builder. Edit checks in Promasys fire immediately when the relevant condition is met. There's no waiting for a complete form to be submitted before the edit check works. The edit check message is displayed inline in the data item, and edit checks indicators are visible at various levels. A powerful filtering allows to display only data items for which edit checks are firing. Edit checks that haven't been resolved form the basis for semi-automatically generated batch queries. This is a single item edit check, requiring a value to be entered in the data field. Here is a multiple item edit check, evaluating whether the value for systolic blood pressure is higher than for diastolic blood pressure. And finally, here is a more complex check, looking at the trend of the values for a data item across visits. The user doesn't have to type any code in order to create edit checks. By selecting data items or variables and combining them with various arithmetic or operators and logical operators, even the most complex edit checks can be built. And finally, on the data quality side, Promasys Query Management System provides a powerful tool for improving the data quality. In Promasys, we have two types of queries: manual queries, created by an individual user, and system queries or batch queries. Batch queries are generated based on firing edit checks. However, it always requires a user intervention to start the query generation process. We deliberately set it up this way to avoid one of the biggest annoyances in clinical trials: people being hit by loads of queries before they even had the time to resolve the issues themselves. Here you see query indicators being displayed on the patient level, and for the selected patient on the visit level on the right side. By the way, you also see some of the other data completeness indicators in Promasys, like for adverse events, for commats, edit checks, and for notes. The white query indicator tells us that there are queries on a lower level. In Promasys, you can also have queries on the patient level or the visit level. Now, if our job is to answer queries, and we use the powerful filtering options to filter on initial query, we can quickly drill down to the data item that has the query. And if we click on the query icon, the query dialog opens and we can provide our answer, after which the status of the query will change to answered and the data item will disappear from the list. The same mechanism and workflow applies to the Promasys iPad app. Here you see a list of patients for a certain study with query indicators. Tapping on the filter icon opens the filter tool, which allows us to filter on initial queries as well as on many other items. Now we only see the patients who have open queries at some level. Here we see only the data items with an open query, and when we tap on the red icon, the query dialog opens, allowing me to review the query and provide an answer or take some action. In the Promasys core module, there is a special section for query management, where I can see all queries that I'm allowed to see and take some action. And because I can filter on almost any attribute of the queries, I can very quickly and efficiently drill down to the queries of my interest. Also, if it is my job to do so, which means I have the user profile and access rights to do it, I can generate batch queries based on edit checks that are still firing. I can make a selection, exclude certain edit checks, or select all and hit the Generate button. Promasys will then create queries for each underlying item. Promasys can also send emails containing the query message and a query form or data change request form in PDF. So far we have talked about Promasys' powerful functions to help you creating high quality data right from the start and further clean the data. The rest of my talk is about data integrity, which basically means protecting these high quality data and showing that they are well protected indeed. Here the access control system and the system generated audit trail work closely together. Let's first take a look at the access control system. User accounts are managed centrally, and for each user you can define whether he or she can log in into Promasys with the core, the Windows client, with the WebCRF or with the Promasys iPad app, and any combination of these login methods. Users can be made member of one or more groups, and any number of groups can be created where a group typically reflects a role or partial role in the clinical trial organization. By combining memberships of various groups, you can create a user access profile that perfectly matches any role in your organization. For each user account, we can set an expiry date as well as password renewal date and various password-related attributes. We can even restrict the hours during which the user can log in. Also, special rights can be associated with a group, such as the right to raise queries or to answer queries, or the right to sign data for review or for approval. Promasys Access Control System allows you to set up the access rights in a very granular way. Once set up properly, you no longer need to worry about the required access level of the users to the clinical trial data and patient information. That is because the access control system works together with Promasys' unique quality model, the study lifecycle. The study lifecycle is a unique quality concept developed in Promasys. We also call it our quality and compliance engine. It divides a trial in a number of well-defined phases or stages, and moving a study from one phase to the next is centrally controlled. The phases of the study lifecycle follow the normal flow of a study, and the required access levels are automatically adjusted to the particular phase a study is in. For more details about the study lifecycle, watch the video on Compliance Made Easy in the Promasys webinar series. The other important component of data integrity is the audit trail. Promasys automatically tracks the history of each data item in your clinical trial, not only for the values that have been entered, but also the history of the data item creation during the study build process. And it does this not only on the level of the individual data item, but also on the visit level, the patient level, and even the protocol or study level. The audit trail information is available through various audit trail reports, and the history of data items is visible in each of the interfaces, like the WebCRF, remember, the web-based EDC module, or the Promasys iPad app. Here you see the same data item, diastolic blood pressure of patient CTS001 in study EN-NN7.0, changed by user system from 120 to 80 on 17 February 2015 at 16 hours, 8 minutes and 1 second. Always, at any time, and in any of the Promasys modules or interfaces, you can see who did what at which date and time. Promasys also allows you to create so-called submission-ready patient casebox that not only contain the values from the database for each data item, but also the relevant meta information like the audit trail, query information, and notes that have been created for a data item. The last component of data integrity is the functionality for electronic signatures. First of all, being able to sign data electronically is a regulatory requirement for data that are captured electronically, as detailed in 21 CFR Part 11. But it also provides an opportunity for important players in the clinical trial process to actively and willfully confirm that they stand for the correctness and the quality of their data. As such, it helps to confirm data quality and integrity. Promasys has two signature levels: review, for instance by a monitor or data manager, and approval, typically by the principal investigator. Also, Promasys distinguishes between normal data items, adverse events, and concomitant medication data, so that you can separate the right to sign off for each of these three categories. Data items can be signed individually or in batch on the form level, the visit level, or the patient level, which is the highest level for signing in batch. And signing can be done in each of the interfaces, including the WebCRF and the Promasys iPad app. This brings us to the end of my talk about data quality and data integrity. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to learn more about Promasys, please visit www.omnicom.com/Promasys. Thank you for your attention and see you next time.